Hello there and welcome back to Gemma Movie Recap. Today I'm going to recap High and Low the Worst X-Cross, a 2022 action film. Warning, spoilers ahead. Please be cautious. The movie opens by showing the officials of the Suzurans school, who have killed the officials and students of other schools. The Suzurans officials are Arai, Suzuki, and Suzurans. After that, they walked out and met with the officials from Kamasaka School, namely Gandhi and Reiji. Meanwhile elsewhere, we can see Ibara High School officials beating up students. They are Raijin, Suji, and Fujin. And it turns out that the three schools have allied and started attacking schools around them. The scene then switches and shows Fujio, an Oyaku High School official who came alone to Suzurans to find someone. He boldly asked about the whereabouts of Mario Misaki, or commonly nicknamed Lao. Fujio was curious about Lao's figure, which he said was like a monster. Hearing that, officials from Suzurans, namely Mercy and Kamui, immediately told Fujio to leave. But Fujio refused, so he was immediately ganged up on by Suzurans students. In the midst of the fight, one of Suzurans officials, Binjo, appeared again. He and Fujio then dueled. Fujio managed to keep up, even making Binjo fall. As the fight was about to continue, another Suzuran official began to get interested, and he was Morogoku. He quickly kicked towards Fujio's neck, but Fujio was able to hold it. But because he did not find Lao there, he chose to leave. While going down the stairs, he accidentally met the person he was looking for, namely Lao. While looking in awe of Lao, suddenly Fujio was immediately expelled by Kosuke. Not satisfied, Fujio then came to Housen High School alone to meet Sachio, the leader of Housen. But there were only Housen officials, namely Sawamura, Kenzo, Jinkawa, and Sidaken. They revealed that Sachio was in the hospital to take care of his mother. They then asked Fujio's purpose for coming there, and after learning that Fujio had previously come to Suzurans alone, they were surprised and thought Fujio was crazy. One of the Housen members then explained about the Lao faction, which consisted of a few people, but those people represented every human ability, from spies, strategists, bouncers, and so on, and the leader was the strongest person in Suzurans, who was rumored to be invincible. After hearing that explanation, Fujio asked if Sachio had ever fought Lao. They then answered that Sachio had fought him many times, but until now he had never won against Lao. After that Fujio returned to Oyaku and gathered with the officials. They were all shocked after learning that Fujio had come alone to Suzurans High School, and even challenged Lao. Jamuo then told them all about the ferocity, and how much of a monster Mario Misaki aka Lao was. On the other hand, Tsukasa had finished beating up the students who were bothering him. He saw if he was being watched by students from Sinaman Technical School. Soon Todoroki came to see him, thus making the students from Sinaman leave immediately. Tsukasa then complained a little, because since Murayama graduated, many other schools were eyeing Oyaku. Then the next day, Tsukasa, Todoroki, and Yukon intended to meet Mercy, with the intention of finding out about Lao. Arriving at the place, Tsukasa then asked Mercy to tell the origin of Lao, and why he could be so strong. At first Mercy refused, but after being shown evidence that there were Suzurans members who infiltrated Sword territory, Mercy finally agreed. Mercy then revealed that Lao bore more weight than anyone else, and that's why he was so strong. After explaining, Mercy directed them to come to a place to meet Lao. They then came to the place in question, which turned out to be an orphanage. Tsukasa said that Lao from birth was cared for at the orphanage, and when he grew up, he realized that he had greater strength than other children, and when Lao grew up, he saw the caretaker of the orphanage mistreating his friends. Therefore Lao did not remain silent and immediately beat him, and from then on he became the protector for this orphanage. Soon, Lao noticed them and immediately approached, but unexpectedly, Fujio immediately shook Lao's hand, and expressed that he wanted to be friends. Lao, who was confused, finally accepted the friendship. On the other hand, Sidaken was invited by Saboten to go meet his friends. Apparently they invited Housen to join them, and together destroy the Oyaku. Despite being bribed with a large amount of money, Sidaken refused and immediately left the place. Of course this refusal made them angry, so they immediately beat Sidaken to death. The next day, the three alliance schools gathered and marched simultaneously to Sword territory, to flatten Oyaku School. The attack first opened with Kiyoshi and Yasushi ganging up on each other, then Tsuji and Shibumen who were on the bus, and finally Tsukasa, Jamuo, and Fujio. Here, Tsukasa tells Jamuo to leave, because he and Fujio are going to face them. After beating up some punks from the three alliances, Fujio then meets up with Kamasaka High School senior Himura Reiji, and they immediately duel. Although Reiji cheated by using the help of weapons, he was not an equal opponent for Fujio, as Fujio could easily defeat him. On the other hand, Kiyoshi and Yasushi managed to survive the first attack, but as soon as the second attack came, Kiyoshi pushed Yasushi to leave, while he himself would hold them. Elsewhere seen, Tsukasa easily defeated the punks even though they used weapons. Tsunamagi came with the others, and Hiramagai told Suzuki to finish Tsukasa. Suzuki then came forward and directly confronted Tsukasa. Their fight was actually balanced, but Tsukasa had to fall after the coward Amagai hit him with an iron rod. After the attack of the three alliances, many members of Oyakao High School were seriously injured, while it was seen that Todoroki had just finished beating the rascals. After that incident, Tsukasa was taken hostage at Sonaman headquarters to lure Oyaku to come. At the same time, Suzuki was seen daydreaming because he remembered Amagai's conversation, which said that he was only using Suzuki, even though Suzuki herself had considered him a friend. In his heart he began to question whether what he was doing was right. On the other hand, Ibara High School officials were seen gathering and talking about the attack earlier. They were disappointed because they did not find Todoroki, but suddenly Todoroki appeared and immediately challenged Shoji and Fujin to a fight. If Todoroki won, then they had to leave the alliance. In the end, Todoroki won the fight even though he himself was battered. Then Raijin said he would keep his promise to leave the alliance. Immediately, Todoroki went to Oyaku officials and Fujio to tell them that Ibara High School had left the alliance. Shortly after, Fujio gets a call from Amagai, who reveals that Tsubasa is with him. He asks Fujio to come if he wants to save him, knowing that Fujio is immediately angry and immediately leads the troops. The next day, they move towards Sonaman School. On the way, they meet the Housen School, which will also attack Sonaman after learning that Sudaken was attacked, so they unite and march towards Sonaman School. On the other hand, Amagai was visibly upset after finding out Ibara High School left the alliance. Then soon they got word that the Oyaku and Housen schools had arrived there. These two camps also met. After staring at each other for a long time, they then began their battle. Fujio, Todoroki, and Yukon then advanced to save Tsukasa while fighting endless troops from Sonaman. Until the three of them finally met Amagai and his troops, but when they were about to start the fight, suddenly the Lao faction arrived there to help. Although Amagai insisted that this had nothing to do with Suzuran, but Lao calmly replied, of course there was, because Fujio was his friend. Soon their battle began. And Lao immediately went forward to show his strength and open the way. After the road was opened, Fujio and the others rushed inside. After entering, they saw that Tsukasa was tied up and hung by Amagai, so that made Fujio angry and quickly approached while finishing off the punks. He managed to catch Tsukasa before he hit the ground. At the same time, Sachio came there after finding out the school was deserted. He then beat up some punks to warm up. On the other hand, Yukon dueled against Saboten, and managed to defeat him. While Fujio, he dueled against Suzuki, but their fight was evenly matched because they were both strong. Outside the school, the fight was over, so they went inside the building to watch the closing battle between Fujio and Suzuki. Immediately the Sonoman troops who were inside ran out in fear, leaving Amagai and Suzuki behind. The fight between Fujio and Suzuki was really dramatic, because both refused to lose, and continued to get up even though they were already battered. But in the end, Fujio won this fight. Amagai didn't accept this defeat, so he prepared to stab Fujio, but he was stopped by Suzuki, who didn't like that kind of cowardice. Suzuki always made Amagai realize that his actions were wrong, and Amagai finally began to understand, and regarded Suzuki as a friend. And after their victory, the three schools then went out and prepared to go home. At the school gate, they met Sachio, and Sachio himself was surprised after seeing Lao there. He was even more surprised after learning that Lao was good friends with Fujio. When Lao was about to leave there, Sachio once again challenged Lao to a duel someday, and Fujio also looked like he wanted to do it too. Lao, seeing their strong determination, decides to agree, and the movie ends.